Hey everybody, this is Cherokee Edwards from Cherokee Edwards Inspires, where we're going to have shows here to talk about life, to talk about what makes your life special, what makes it better, and everybody working together, because together everyone achieves more. Acronym for the word team. Stay tuned and let's get it on. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Cherokee Edwards Inspires. And I want to talk to a little bit about the situations going on. And I want to start this segment by uplifting you and letting you know that you are enough. A lot of times we need other people to validate who we are and are we enough. Well, my story starts out, back in the streets of Philadelphia. And between Philly and Jersey, I was raised up to who I am today. And I think the most important lesson that I've ever learned is that I'm enough. I'm something special. There's a lot of times where things aren't happening, right. Things aren't going our way. And we tend to stop thinking that we're enough and we got to be somebody else, or we want to be in somebody else's life, or we need somebody around us to make us believe that we are special. Well, I want to make sure that tonight we talk about how special we are and how special you are. If you're listening out there and you're going through a lot of hard times, with this pandemic and keeping you in the house, I want you guys to know that the first thing you need to do is love yourself. I talk about this a lot. I think the moment that I believed in myself and I loved myself, it changed my life. When I thought that, certain people were the elitists and they're the only ones that get to live well, and everybody had a better life than me and everybody had more than me, life wasn't that much fun living. Now that's not to say that I ever wanted to kill myself or do something to myself. And I know people do get that weak, but I think it's one of those times where you said it didn't matter. You almost asked God to take you away from the earth. And there are times where you're going to feel that way. I want to tell you that I want you to stop, look, and listen to the inner you. That's where the powerful part of you is. So as I was coming up and feeling like, man, one day, I want a better life than this. There's got to be something better than this, and I was blessed enough to see things, and see things that people had. And I started understanding that it wasn't just, sports or entertainment that could change my life, but business could change my life. I saw people wearing suits and I said, man, that's what I want to do. I want to dress nice. I want to look good. And I want to feel good. I want to feel special. I want to feel needed. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what we really need. We need to go back to the point where we know that we're needed. So it was like, coming from Philadelphia, being in the Navy, and it brought me to Virginia and, getting into business, and it's like a constant level of education. And it was one of those things where I said, something's going to break open. Something has got to change. I've always loved talking to people, and I've always loved listening to people, listening to the stories that they came up with, or stories and things that they've been through a time, in their life, and try to imagine either what it was like to be them or be where they were, or what are the possibilities that I can actually accomplish those things. Can I become a business owner? Can I become an executive? Can I become somebody that is looked up to and respected? Can I become someone that can stand on a stage and command an audience and get people to understand that there are things that you're bringing to the table that can change their life? Well, when you're struggling, you never feel that way. When I was, working at a vacation, back when I was starting my employment after getting out of the Navy and working at a vacuum store, I worked at the vacuum store because they were paying people $300 a week. And to me, that was a lot of money. That was something that I was going to be like, wow, I'm going to get paid $300 a week. And I thought that was great. But the thing was, I was going to learn more there than I anticipated. And it wasn't about the $300 a week, which was really $229 after taxes. I started to learn how to repair the vacuum cleaners. I learned how to not just, I was hired to sell, but I was taught by this great man. His name was Mr. Hall. He taught me how to really repair the vacuum cleaners, and he took me on days where I was off. So it made me even a better salesperson because I knew how to break them down and put them back together. Well, the other thing that happened was I started running a store. So I was able to learn how to run things, take in payments, repair the vacuum cleaners, sell the vacuum cleaners. Obviously, that was my major point, and how the belts and everything work. Well, that wasn't going to be the cure all, but it started my journey to being appreciated and feeling needed. Now, that company, really, to be honest with you, they didn't appreciate the skill set that I really had. They knew I had it, but they were willing to let me work for that $300 a week and basically starve, you know. But as long as I was willing to take it, they were willing to, let me take it. But I was learning something. I was learning how to build relationships with the customers. I was learning that I could actually fix and repair vacuum cleaners. And I'm just going to be straight up with you guys. I got fired from that job, and I'll tell you why. I had people come in and they would need things for their vacuum cleaner, and they couldn't buy the new one. They just couldn't buy a new vacuum cleaner. They couldn't afford a new brush roll or things like that. So there was a trade-in that I took in. There was a vacuum cleaner that we had come in, and the person's vacuum cleaner was trash. I mean, it was just downright trash. But the person came in, and it was a shopper, and they found out that I was giving parts away that people really needed, and I started learning how to help people. Well, everybody doesn't see it the same way. To them, it was like, hey, you're stealing from the store. I do understand that as a business owner, and I do understand it in business that even if you took a pen out of somebody's store, it's stealing. But when you're trying to do it for the right reason, there are times where you're not taking something away from that company to do something good for someone. But if you work for a selfish individual, then you're going to have to deal with that. I mean, that's the price that comes with that. And that's not to knock the individual that owned that company. It's just to say that he who makes the goal makes the rules. And I was working for that individual, so I'm supposed to run that the way he would like me to run it. So in that regard, he was right in firing me for that. But if I were going to allow myself to be down on that, I wouldn't have gotten my job later at Circuit City, where I was growing a bit more. Now I was appreciated a little bit more. But again, here we go. When you run your time there, either you're going to walk away from it or you're going to be fired. I mean, these are just things that are going to happen. And that did happen. So that led me to the timeshare industry. The timeshare industry was very good to me, not in the beginning. In the beginning, I couldn't give it away, So it's one of those things where I'm trying to find myself, and I'm in my early 20s. Now I'm in my mid 20s at that point, and I'm trying to find myself here in the state of Virginia, away from home, away from my mother, away from things that I knew. But I left the city at 18 years old. So I was a very young man coming out, and I was determined to make it. I was determined to be better than what I had been given. So, there's a saying, play the cards that you're dealt. But just because you were dealt a bad hand doesn't mean you lose the game. It doesn't mean you lose it. It means you have to learn how to bluff. You have to learn how to put cards in position where your hand is more favorable. Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. I want you to understand that going through all this stuff with Circuit City, with the vacuum cleaner company I worked for, the various companies I worked for were making me stronger because they were, to me, they had dead ends. Well, now we know, it's 2020, and Circuit City doesn't even exist anymore. Well, guess what? I still do. And I'm still doing things that I love to do, which is sell and take care of people and help people, right? So this was what led me to the resort world. Being in the resort world opened up another wing to me. It took me literally 34 days to get my first sale once I got on the line. I could not give the timeshare away, but I had to believe in myself. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that part. And again, this is for me to try to inspire you to know that this too shall pass. I'll be back in a minute.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Okay, guys, I'm back. And again, we were just talking about my involvement with the resort world. Getting into the resort world back in 1999 with almost not a penny to my name. I literally had $256 in my account and my rent was $400 a month. So we all know that doesn't work. The math doesn't work well. Well, again, I was running that risk. I had already been thrown out of one apartment. And here goes another time where I'm probably going to be thrown out of this one. But I had this beautiful family, Mr. and Mrs. Bonhoff, that owned the quadplex that I lived in Portsmouth, Virginia. And I literally told them, I just don't see where I'm going to get this. And they were like, look, we're going to give you some time. And they gave me time to, try to do some things. I started working around the building with her husband and painting and doing different things, odds and ends, to try to earn my keep while I was training with the resort world, right? Now, this resort company, and the name of it is Fairfield Resorts at that time, it's now called Wyndham. They were the best at training. And I'm telling you right now, I couldn't be where I'm at now without them. They trained me in how the program works and how, the system works. And I was the last one in my training class to sell. There was 18 people in my training class, and there was a few of us that got these letters that were letting people know that we were going to be fired if we couldn't sell at least 2 out of the next 10. Well, of course, that was in 1999. Here we are in 2020, and I'm still in the industry. So obviously, the 2 and 10 didn't hurt me as bad as it did for some. But what it was it goes back to that inner city kid that wanted to get out of that city and get out of that situation. And I want to share something with you as I finish that story. When the why is great enough, the facts don't matter. I read a lot, and one of my favorite books that I've ever read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I call him one of my professors. Another one is Les Brown. Another one is Eric Thomas. Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar back in the day, right? The grandfather of all this, really, the godfather, whatever you want to call him. But these are important people that I've dealt with. George Frazier, motivational speakers, and being able to listen to them and compile all this, I started saying, I got to figure out a way to work for myself. Somebody told me one day, if you don't like what's going on, then change it. If you don't like what you're watching, change the channel. Well, I got to that point where going through the resort world, I started to learn everything I could learn. But then the biggest lesson was, how do you put it into your own personality? And that's what happened. Once I learned to put my own playful side of this in, learn enough to be able to explain the program, but let the family fall in love with me as I fell in love with them. That's what changed my career. So I went from the bottom of the barrel, almost ready to be fired, to a perennial President's Club winner, the top in the industry. So it's not to brag, it's to let you know that when you have that belief and you find yourself and you find joy, you can get through anything. Now, bringing that back to this pandemic that we're going through in 2020, I want you guys to know that you can master things that you always wanted to do because now you're given so much time. So instead of being like so many people out here complaining about they won't let us do this, they won't let us do that. My job laid me off. Okay, a job is nothing but work. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't be out here and you shouldn't be working because you have to take care of your family. But what I want you to understand is you see how fast you can be let go from a job, whether it's furloughed or actual termination. You see how dangerous it is for some of these people, whether it's health care providers that are on that front line, first responders, police officers, firefighters. They're getting this coronavirus at alarming rates. Now, what the governors are trying to do is keep us in the house and keep us safe. I know a lot of people say, oh, they're trying to keep us in there to pull something over our eyes. Let me tell you, I have some friends that have this coronavirus right now, and it's very real. It's very real. Now, I don't know, maybe they are fudging some numbers and they're adding some things to it, but do you want to find out the hard way that it is real? Wear your mask, take care of yourself, and take care of your family. Your best ability is your availability. Your best ability is your availability. My football coach taught me that a long time ago, and I live by that now in business, and I do train on it a lot. Each one teach one, so we all reach one. These are all important things. But back to what I was trying to tell you. What I want to see you do is build something while you're in that house. Read more, study more. Then go ahead and make a schematic of your dream, your vision of working. There's something that you love to do. There's something you do better than anyone else, and it was your gift. And that gift is from God. That's a gift that you were given, and no one else was given that particular gift. Find out what that is and find out how to monetize that. If you do these things, your days will not be so long, drawn out, and boring. I still believe you should get outside and get some sun. You definitely need that vitamin D, and there's no better vitamin D than the sun. But let's exercise social distancing, right? Let's exercise wearing the mask. I know I saw a publication where the doctors were getting together and telling people not to wear the mask and telling them about how it weakens the immune system. And there's it confuses us out here to who's right, because everybody, Dr. Fauci, and several other, Dr. Sanjay, who I like a lot, they're saying wear the mask, keep your hands clean. Now, I know that there's some things, there's good bacteria, there's bad bacteria. I get all that. But here's the deal, people. You only get one life. And now is the time, instead of complaining, just try to create a first. Dig deep for that champion that's within you. There's a champion inside of you. Let that champion out. Find out how to get the most out of what your capabilities are. Monetize that. Figure it out. Find out what your bills are like. Write them down. Be truthful and honest with yourself. And then decide, what can you do to help give others something and monetize it. Now I own 3 different businesses. And my biggest thing is, by creating these companies and businesses, it ensures that I don't have to work for other people. So I can't be laid off the way normal people can, and the way I could before. I wanted more control of what happened to me. And this is how you do that. You do that by creating something of value, something that you're willing to do, something that you're able to do at a high level, efficiently, and it's worth your time. It's worth your time. Because truth of the matter, people, the best thing that you could ever charge for is your time. That's the one thing you can't get back. So I just wanted to take a little time on here and talk about things. I know we're going through a lot. I know that it's dark for us, but it always gets darker before it gets light. And like so many times before, we rise, we get stronger. We will rise through this like the phoenix. The ashes will be left to simmer. But it's only if you're strong enough and you have the faith to complete what task you set out for yourself. You can do all things if you have the faith that you can do them. You are enough. You have always been enough. You just have to believe that you are enough. So when you get out here and you start writing down things, be serious about it. Build a team. And let me tell you something about the team. The team is built with people that trust you and that you trust. They count on you and you are accountable to them. And you can count on them. That's your family. That's your family. A lot of people say, well, my family holds me back. I've been born to a family that doesn't want to work together. Well, guess what? Those are your relatives. Your family is who you can build with. We may love our relatives. I love my relatives. I don't work with any of them, but I do love them. I wish them well. I want them to do well. And I know that maybe they watch and listen to things that I've done over the past 20, 25 years, and maybe it inspires them. I have a niece out in Texas. I'm so proud of her because she literally is doing her own YouTube channel. That's a little plug for Jen. Her name is Jennifer. But I love her sister, Jessie. I love her brother, Jason. And I want to do things. I love her mother, which is my sister, right? I was born with two sisters and a brother. And one of the things, and they all have children. One of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to make sure that they could see that we weren't born of dirt. We weren't born to be in poverty forever. Somebody had to show the rest of us that this could happen. And even though I'm the youngest sibling, so be it. It's one of those things where it doesn't matter. The age, how long you've been on this planet doesn't matter as how much you did on this planet. It's not the quantity as much as it's the quality of your life. What are we putting out here for the kids and the children that are coming behind us? We can't be cowards in front of these children because we let the children know that it's okay to be a coward. It's not okay. We have to show them what a champion does. See, champions don't get it easy. Champions have to work for it. But once they get it and what God has given you, no man can take away from you. Even if they took it away, what you physically see, because you were capable of building it, it ensures that you can build it again. All you need is, again, that magic word, time. It's not the skill of the man, it's the will of the man or woman. And guys out here, we got to be bigger and better for our women. We have to be. We have to give them something to be proud of. We have to give the children something to be proud of, something to look up to. We have to be able to say, I've given my best. There's nothing else I can give. I've given my best, so now I can rest. But you cannot rest until you've given your best. And that's just being real. That's just being real. You should be proud to lay your head down at night because you've accomplished so much. You've done something to change somebody's life. And when I say you've accomplished so much, it doesn't always mean you've done a lot. What it means is you have accomplished something that can make someone else great. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's massive. You've helped somebody change their life. These are things that are so important. These are things that are so important. Make somebody smile tomorrow. If you're blessed to open your eyes tomorrow, wake up with a purpose. If it were on purpose, change the world. Change the world. The funny and interesting thing about this pandemic is why people are in the house, even though people are getting really upset about it. I don't know that they'd be so upset if they were in hospital beds, like some of these people with tubes sticking out of them just because they fought their way out. Now you understand, instead of being locked in the house, you're actually being protected in there. Make sure your house is a home. Make sure your house is a home. In other words, make sure you don't just love your family, but you actually like them. See, if you like your family, you'll spend more time with them. Then it doesn't seem like a prison sentence to be in the house. But remember what I'm saying, guys. Let all of us be that family. Wear your mask. Stay protected. If you're around people, wear the mask. It's nothing. Take it off later, but wear the mask when you're in public and keep a social distance and protect people. Protect each other. But here again, like I said, use this time wisely. Use this time wisely. Create something for yourself and your family. Spend more time reading, less time arguing. Don't spend so much time watching things that are depressing you. Spend more time listening to things that uplift you, motivational CDs. Get on your computer and just listen to some, right? Write out some business plans for yourself. Write out some goals. We're not even midway through the year yet, but we're coming close, and we know this year will go by fast. When this thing lifts up, just remember, you could come out like the caterpillar, or you could come out like the butterfly. The caterpillar, once it goes into the cocoon, it will never be a caterpillar again. It will transform itself into a butterfly. See, the caterpillar can't fly, and the butterfly doesn't have to walk. Transform yourself into that butterfly. So that's it for tonight. I just wanted to leave you guys with some words of encouragement and let you know that I'm here for you, and I hope you reach out. And if you want to talk about any topic, I'm going to start doing this a little more frequently because I know that's what we need. But I really want to reach out to the youngsters as well, not just the older people. I want to reach out to these young people because you guys are our future. And guess what? I love you. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you come on back later on for another edition of Cherokee Edwards Inspires, and we'll talk about another topic tomorrow. God bless and have a great night.